Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Finkel, my questions are for you, and I'd like to thank the entire panel for being here today for this. I'm a little confused, Mr. Finkel, about where we're at and where your position is. I mean, I think you're stating wholeheartedly that you believe in regulation as it is. Is that correct? And that the opportunity to try to fine-tune some of that is not necessarily what you think of. Is that correct?
No, I mean, I believe in smart regulation. I believe we have a lot of unfinished business to do to protect consumers and workers and the environment. But I believe that I'm an analyst, so I believe that we ought to be looking more carefully and harder at not just total cost and total benefit, but at real people who are affected both economically and.
Are you aware that we have had an unemployment rate of 9.1% that's been sustained for about 23 months now?
I know where you're going with that, and I think the evidence that in any significant amount that rate has anything whatsoever to do with health, safety, and environmental regulation is thinner than thin ice.
Well, let me just tell you my own experience then. Over and over again, we have heard from our small business owners, businesses across the country, regardless. I say small business because that's the committee we're on. But all business alone is saying that government regulation is the #1 problem that they're faced with. And that the fear of the unknown, the fear of more regulation, the fear of the taxes going up, the fear of all the uncertainty that's out there is keeping them from hiring right now. Now, this is the position that we're faced with, and we're obtaining that information over and over again, and it's just compiling. But what you're telling me is that you think more along the line of, for instance, let me just see if I pulled out a quote from your opening statement, that small businesses, that you feel that there will be small businesses that will be created because of regulation, and that they're just waiting to be created. So in other words, you know, we're creating a problem which then might actually spark a business growth environment? Is that what I'm understanding you say?
Yeah, I'm surprised that would be at all controversial. The problems that are created through what economists call externalities, the pollution, the safety hazards, when you solve those, sometimes businesses who create the problems are hurt economically, and very often other businesses come in and take advantage of the market to provide the safe equipment, the pollution control technology. All I'm saying is if you want to think about indirect effects far upstream, those come in two flavors, and there are some positive indirect effects as well.
That is true. That is true. But basically what you're saying is there's a winner and then there's a loser. I personally don't believe that's true in business. I think that the innovation in this country is outstanding, and that we all grow as we move along. I have a question too. You had said that you didn't necessarily feel that it was just large corporations, that small businesses are sometimes the bigger culprit of some of these. Can you expand on that?
Well, again, in my area, there are studies that suggest that in a lot of industrial sectors, the occupational fatality rate is 6 or 8 times higher in small establishments than in large ones. Now, it doesn't say we should come down like a ton of bricks on small establishments, but the reality is these are dangerous places to work. In some cases, they are contributing to pollution in others, and I just try to distinguish between, yes, efficiency is a great idea, and you go for the big sources, but it's a different problem if everybody's putting CO2 in the atmosphere. You go after the bigs first because you get most of your benefit there. But if everybody is causing grave risk to their employees, you don't necessarily only care about big employers.
Last question. Do you believe in global warming?
I'm not a climate scientist, but I've worked among them for many years, and yes, of course I do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.